Okay, hi there. So after you did the charts, you handed those in. I still need to look at them, but I wanted to get this next assignment out to you. You're not that far behind, so I wanted to try to keep it that way. So we started something called active and passive voice, all right? And if you look on, I feel like it was yesterday, in your Google Drive, go to your recent files, and you should see two files that I shared with you. They'll start with your name, and then one is called active and passive voice. The other one is called active passive voice reteach and practice. Okay? And those are the two files that we'll be using. So they're already in your Google Drive. If you look at our Google Drive for, what did I say? It was probably yesterday. Yesterday was Tuesday. So if you look at your Google Drive for Tuesday, you should see those two files. And we actually made a new folder to begin with. I think it was yesterday. We made a new folder inside our English folder. We created a new folder called Active and Passive Voice. And then we went to the recent files in our Google Drive, and we found those two PDF files, one called Active and Passive Voice and one called Active and Passive Voice Reteach and Practice. And we did that 2-finger drop to get on the file to get the option to organize and move. Once you click on organize, it'll say move. And we moved those over. So if you need help with that, let me know. That's something I'd have to show you how to do on my Chromebook. And I'm on my iPad right now, so I can help you with that. Or I can just email the two files to you. Let me know. Okay, so the first thing we did was we went to Edpuzzle. And if you look in Edpuzzle, you'll see that there is an assignment. There's a video assigned. And that was what we used as our introduction. And let's take a look at that. If I can get signed in, I'll watch it with you. And that way I can stop it when I want to and tell you the same things I told them in class. But it's acting kind of funny there. Not letting me. What if I... Okay. All right. Click on get started maybe. Okay, so that doesn't seem to be working. That's something I'll have to show you on my Chromebook. So the first thing you want to do, I'll write it on here. I don't know why it's not letting me do anything here. So you'll want to go to Edpuzzle, go to your assignments, and you're going to see a video on active and passive voice. And go ahead and answer the multiple choice questions throughout. And when you've done that, let me know, and I can put your score in for that. Okay, and after the video, which was on Monday, we started yesterday by looking at the file that's just called Active and Passive Voice. But again, be reminded it'll begin with your name. And since it was the next day, we reviewed some of the details here at the top. I like both of the handouts begin with a definition and some explanation and example sentences, so I like that. And what we talked about here was that if the subject of a sentence, if it performs an action, it's active voice, okay? So if you're identifying the subject and the verb of a sentence, which we'll do here in a minute, if you have an action verb, it's active voice. And that will not make sense until after you watch the video, so you might want to pause now and come back to this one. Okay? And then, if a subject of a sentence receives an action, that's passive voice. And more importantly, and you'll see that here in the examples, more importantly, active voice is what I want you to use when you write in English. It's preferable in the discipline that is English language arts. Sometimes in science, passive voice is preferred because it's a matter of emphasis. Active voice emphasizes who's doing something. Passive voice emphasizes the action that's being done to something or someone. And in science, they want the emphasis to be on the process that's being done rather than whom or what is doing it. So for you and I, we're always going to strive to write in active voice. It's clearer and keeps sentences from being wordy. So that means it's clearer and it's more concise. And by more concise, I mean it uses fewer words. Okay? So that's what it says right over here. It's clearer, it's more concise. Also, sometimes I might say, in place of more concise, I might say more economical. So if you think of each word as 1 penny, think about when you're writing, you want to be economical. You want to spend less money. If each word is 1 penny, using fewer words is definitely more economical. And more concise, more economical, same thing. Means the same thing. Okay? So let's look at these examples. And I am going to switch colors. Don't have a lot of options here, but I'm going to go with blue. So already for this first sentence that says, I ate 3 slices of pizza yesterday. Look for my pointer. That's the sentence we're on. It's active voice. We already know that. You're going to see an action verb. So first ask yourself, whom or what is this sentence about? And that's got to be a noun or a pronoun, okay? A noun, person, place, or thing, or a pronoun, him, her, he, she, it, we, they, I, me, my, okay? Takes the place of a noun. So whom or what is this first sentence about? I ate 3 slices of pizza yesterday. Whom or what is the sentence about? Pause if you need time to think. And okay, so you're back. And I hope you identified the subject as the pronoun I. Okay? Right there. I. Okay? Now, the question, to find the verb, there's a question I always ask, and it is the subject doing something, or is the subject being renamed or described? You can go ahead and pause it if you need time to think. Is the subject doing something, or is it being renamed or described? Okay, so hopefully you said, well, the subject, I, is doing something. What did I do? I ate. And is ate an action verb or a linking verb? Because it's doing something that is action. AV is action verb. Okay? If you have an action verb, it's active voice. Action verb, active voice. Okay, next sentence we'll take care of in green. It already tells you off to the right that this sentence is in passive voice. Okay? So whom or what is this sentence about? 3 pieces of pizza were eaten by me yesterday. 3 pieces of pizza were eaten by me yesterday. Whom or what is the sentence about? And you can pause it if you need a minute. Okay, so if you're back, you know that the subject is, the complete subject would be 3 pieces of pizza. Okay, if you wanted just the simple subject, it doesn't matter for our purposes here. If you want to identify the complete subject, that's totally fine. If you want to identify only the simple subject, also totally fine. In this case, the sentence is about pieces. And you're going to think that's a little bit weird. Pieces is the simple subject. Okay? Pieces, did they do something? Or are they later renamed or described, kind of, sort of? Pieces, did they do something? Or are they later renamed or described? Okay, so in this case, pieces or pieces of pizza, if that helps you, are they doing anything? No. But they're later renamed or described as, guess what? Eaten. They were eaten. Okay? So in this case, you've got a linking verb, and the main verb is eaten. Okay? So that's actually a verb phrase. That's the linking verb plus the main verb is a verb phrase. Okay? And it's not an action verb, so it is dun, 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 passive voice. Okay? All right. Now, to get ready for the homework, at the beginning of the period, we kept going through this paper. So now let's go ahead and look at section A. Okay. And the directions say these lines taken from the return. So these lines come from the story we just read. They're all active voice. So for every single one, you're going to find the subject, and the subject will be doing something. And what the subject is doing will be our action verb, because they are active voice. Okay? We're underlining the subject, and we're double underlining the action verb. All right, so whom or what is sentence number 1 about? And again, you can pause. He made quick springing steps, his left hand dangling freely by the side of his once white coat. Okay? He, whom or what is the sentence about? The sentence is about he. And what did he do? He made. Since it's an action verb, it's active voice. So number 2, sometimes he darted quick side glances at the small hedged strips of land. Whom or what is the sentence about? Pause it if you need time to think. The sentence is about he. And what did he do? He darted. Action, verb, active, voice. Number 3, the other women with tired and worn features looked at him mutely as if greeting was of no consequence. Homer, what is this sentence about? Now, this one's more complex. If you need time, go ahead and pause it. Homer, what this sentence is about is women. That is the simple subject. Feel free to underline the complete subject, which is the other women. It doesn't make any difference. What did the other women, what did they do? And they looked is our action verb. So underline that twice. Okay. Now this phrase that interrupts made it more complicated. I'm highlighting it in red. That just tells how they looked. Okay. Or no, that describes what they looked like. Sorry, rather. Okay. Going to blue. Number 4. But they told him of the new village. And I hate this example because I really want to say that it shouldn't begin with but. It should just begin with the capital T. Okay, so they told him of the new village. Homer, what is the sentence about? Pause it. Okay, the sentence is about they, and what did they do? They told. Okay, number 5. He left them, feeling embittered but not cheated. Whom or what is the sentence about? Sentence is about he. And what did he do? He left. Action, verb, active, voice. Okay? Now, we did not do the bottom. I do not want you to rewrite any sentences in passive voice because I don't want you to write anything for English in passive voice, so this is a big no. But there is a section on your homework that for which you will have to rewrite some sentences. Okay? But you'll be taking sentences that are written in passive voice and rewriting them the way I want you to be able to rewrite them, which is in active voice. So to practice that, we went back up to the top of this paper and we went to our sentence that's here. I've got my highlighter out. Look for the red dot, okay? This passive voice sentence about the 3 pieces of pizza. So it's written in passive voice, and how would we rewrite it? Using fewer words, improving the clarity by writing it in active voice. We need an action verb, okay? So who did the action? Who was the one eating? Well, it was me, okay, at the end. But you can't start a sentence with me ate. Yeah, because it was yesterday. 3 pieces of pizza were eaten by me yesterday. Yeah, so it has to be past tense. You cannot say me ate. All right? So you have to say I ate 3 pieces of pizza yesterday. Okay. And then you can go ahead and identify the subject. Well, the subject is, I'm going to get the highlighter. Subject is I. And what did I do? I ate. And ate is an action verb. Action verb, active voice. Okay? All right, so let's move ahead. This is the other file. Now, this file is the one that ends with the words reteach, and I use the ampersand. I can't make it, but that's the best you're going to get. Reteach and practice this file. Now, this one's 2 pages long. Okay. So you've got your notes there at the top. You've got some examples to help you out. Okay, examples of active, examples of passive. And then what we did in class was we circled A and we wrote do. Now these are all active voice. So you're looking for the subject and the action verb. Okay. And then we circled B and we wrote do. Now this one, these are all passive voice. So you're underlining the subject and then you double underline the action that's being received, which is going to be your verb phrase, your linking verb plus your main verb. Linking verb plus main verb. And I'll do the first one on that with you because kids did have questions. So the first one says, the treaty was signed by the 2 presidents. Whom or what is this sentence about? It's going to be tricky. The sentence is about the treaty, and it was later renamed or described as having been signed. The action it received was that it was signed. Or just the word signed. I guess you could go with that instead of the and, or the was, sorry. There. Okay. All right. We went forward and section A on the back we did. And that's where you're rewriting. So look at the first one. Let's do it together. Instructions will be given to you by your department supervisor. Who's doing the action? Well, the department supervisor is the one doing, but is not the subject of that sentence. Whom or what is this sentence about? This sentence is actually about instructions. And what's the verb phrase? They will be given. Now, that's not an action verb. Those are helping verbs, linking verbs, not active voice. Okay? So this one is obviously passive because they're having us rewrite it in the active voice. So that's a given. You're not going to see action verbs. Start with whoever's doing the action. Your department supervisor. You can't change the tense. So you still want future tense, like it's going to happen later. These will be given to you in the future. You don't want to change that. Your department supervisor will give your instructions. Sorry, I ran out of room. And you could say, we'll give your instructions to you if you wanted to. Okay. We did do B. Start by identify whom or what the sentence is about. Identify the subject. And then ask yourself, is the subject doing something? If it is, that's going to give you your action verb and active voice. Or is the subject later being renamed or described, kind of, sort of. If it's later being renamed or described, that's going to give you probably, a verb phrase containing linking verbs, helping verbs, depends on the example. Okay, that'll help. Those steps off to the right will help you, because if you have an action verb, you have active voice. Okay, now the bottom section, we crossed it out. Okay, I don't want you to rewrite any sentences in passive voice, because I don't want you using passive voice, so I am not going to insist that you practice something I don't want you to do. Okay, so let me change these directions. Okay, anything from part B, anything that is passive from part B, rewrite from part B, right up above, any sentences that are passive. If they're passive in part B, then on the bottom here, rewrite them in active voice. Okay? Any sentences that are passive. You'll rewrite them in active right down here, okay? I'll give you a hint. Up on section B, there are two. There are two of those 5 sentences that are written in passive voice. So down on the bottom, there are 2 things you'll rewrite in active voice. And when you're done with this paper, there's a place for you to submit it in Shobi. And there's also, you'll see that I also have a key in there so that you can check your work. But don't look at the key until obviously you've already, completed the assignment and submitted your own. And then look at the key and see if you have any questions, email me or we can FaceTime. Okay? Take care. Let me know if you have any problems or questions.